In this video, I'm going to be talking about ways that you can significantly and dramatically increase your revenue in the salon. This is something that I know so many of you struggle with. It is such a painful reality check when you get into this industry and you realize it's really hard to make money. And actually only 10% of stylists actually report making a decent living, and only 5% actually make it up into that six-figure mark. So I really want to encourage you and let you know that it is entirely possible for you to get there. And I'm going to give you some really awesome tips that helped me. As you know, I've talked about in other videos how I went from making about $30,000 a year to making over six figures, so over 100,000 within just 1 year. And if you're interested in that story, make sure to check out this video up here. So in this video, I'm just gonna kind of let you into my business model a little bit and tell you some of the things that I did to really increase my revenue. So if that sounds good, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get right into it. All right, so in order to increase your revenue dramatically, you're gonna want to build a clientele very quickly, because obviously that's going to get you that steady income that you need in order to sustain a higher revenue. So I believe that one of the quickest ways to build a clientele is to really focus on client retention. Everybody else focuses on getting new clients. Like I said in some of my other videos, it's much easier to retain clients. They spend more money and they are worth so much more than brand new clients. And they require so much less effort and so much less incentives, which all of us hate to have to give discounts in order to get people in the door. So if this is not something that you focus on, make it be your main priority, because I'm telling you, I didn't have to have 1 million clients in order to build my clientele. I just had to have a few that spent good money because they trusted me. So when you really invest in your clients that you already have, especially if you have a small clientele right now, it's going to make the biggest difference. So I have a whole video that I did on this about kind of out-of-the-box ways for retaining your clients that are really working today, and you could check that out right up here. But to give you an example, one thing that I really stress is actually spending more time at the end of the service. Everybody's so focused on the first impression, but it's really the last impression that leaves a lasting impression. So I actually encourage you guys to spend more time at the end of the service so the client doesn't feel so rushed at the end, because that's something they're really going to remember, and that's something that really helps them make the decision of whether you are the right stylist for them and whether they're hooked on you and your services or not. And I want you to think about this too. Regular clients are way more likely to buy more product, and they're way more likely to buy more product more consistently, because with the clients you have right now, it's so much easier for them to want to book more services and to stick to a plan that you have for them and to keep buying products almost like a subscription box. Subscription boxes are some of the most successful business models that exist today. And those are things like Ipsy and things like that, where they pay like $10 a month and then they get like all these different products. But when you have regular clients, they're more likely to buy as if they were buying a subscription box, because they need that new thing every single month. So one thing that you can really do is, if you have a small clientele right now and you're still building, is show the appreciation that you feel for them. So instead of always offering the best discounts to the new clients who really haven't given you a reason to give them all of these gifts, make sure that you do little surprising and unexpected things for your current clients. Because there could be clients that are kind of like starting to get kind of used to you and thinking about maybe trying somebody else, almost like a relationship where they're just kind of bored. But if you do something like that, you never know, you could have saved one of those clients, and that is so much more valuable than bringing in a new client. So for example, like there's just some people that I just absolutely love to work on. And what I would do for them is be like, okay, they're already buying like products every single time they come in. So what I would do is just like add a little extra something for them. Like, if they're buying shampoo and conditioner, but I recommended something that maybe they're just not ready to buy yet, I would just give it to them. Be like, you know what? I just have to let you know, like, I appreciate you so much. So today I just wanted to throw this in for you too. So thank you so much for just being so great and so pleasant to work on. And obviously this has to come from a genuine place. It's very hard to give stuff away for free. So this shows that you're very genuine in your appreciation for them. And it really helps to just like further establish that bond in that relationship. And that is what keeps clients coming back. Because I have heard so many clients talk about like, like it's kind of weird that, these brand new clients get 50% off their service, and like, what do I get? I'm spending money every single time I come in, so if you think about that, think about how much money that they are spending with you and make sure that you're making it worth it for them. So every once in a while, do a little surprising and unexpected thing for them just to show that you appreciate them, because sometimes we can neglect the people that require a lot less energy from us. All right, the second thing that you can do to dramatically increase your revenue is to get very, very good at selling products and just selling in general. Just having a dedication to actually really learning sales and learning how to be a great salesperson is going to increase your revenue so dramatically. And I know that when I say the word selling, it kind of makes you recoil a little bit because it's kind of like a yucky word and has a lot of stigma to it. But that's why I did an entire video about how to sell without being a salesy, pushy person. And of course, you can check that out right here. But it really comes down to being a great salesperson is directly correlated to being a great stylist, because it's all about providing solutions to problems rather than just trying to get them to buy a product so you have more money. But when you're providing solutions to problems and clients are really seeing the benefits from what you are recommending because you are so thoughtful about the things that you're recommending, it makes them even more loyal and it makes them want to buy even more. And not just your products, but more services from you. They want to see what else you can do. They want to see, what other miracles you can do for them. And that makes them even more willing to spend more money. So make sure to check out that video on how to sell without being too salesy or pushy. But also, I wanted to kind of add this tip to it as well. When you are trying to recommend a product, make sure that you are selling by kind of empowering the client. Because a lot of times clients always say things like, gosh, I wish I can do that at home. Like, I'm just not able to do it on my own. So when they say that, to me, I'm a very positive person. I'm like, nope, that's not true. Let's get you doing it. So for one thing, like, people love the way that I curl hair. So they're just like, I wish I could take you home with me. And I'm like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. So I take a piece of their hair, show them the curling iron that I'm using, show them exactly how I do the technique. Then I put it in their hands. Now you're going to do it yourself. And then I instruct them exactly how it's done. And so you want to make sure that you get really, really good at educating and explaining things so that anybody can do what you're trying to teach them. And naturally, when you're showing them and they're having this thing in their hands and it's working for them, they naturally say, oh my gosh, I need this curling iron. I need this tool to help me do this at home. And guess what? You sell it. So instead of having to say, hey, there's this really great curling iron that I want to talk to you about, it's something they've already used. You've shown them how to use it. You weren't even trying to sell it to them. And now they're asking about it. So that is like one of the keys to being a great salesperson. It's actually just empowering them, and then they in turn want to buy something to help make this possible for them later. And of course, if you can, increase those product sales, you can dramatically increase your income, and it totally did for me. All right, so the next piece of advice that I have for you guys is make sure that you are charging for your time. Now, for me specifically, I did a lot of color. So color is, first of all, unpredictable with the timing just because there's so many different hair types. Things take different times to process. There's so many variables that go into it. So for me personally, I actually charge by the hour. I'm not saying that this is the best way to charge, but you do want to make sure that for all of the services that you provide, you are considering how long these services take and making sure that you are charging appropriately. So I actually created a pricing guide for you guys to kind of help you look through all of your services, look through all of your expenses, and make sure that you are charging appropriately based on what your goals are for your business. And you can check that out in the description below. But the key is you want to make sure that you understand that the only thing that you really have to sell, or the most important asset that you have to sell, is your time. So you have to make sure that you are getting enough money for the time that you are putting in, because you are never going to get that time back or that opportunity back to make that money. So a lot of stylists just kind of think of, okay, what's the going rate for a haircut? That's what I'm going to charge. So instead of, pricing your services that way, or just looking at your competition and being like, oh, I'll just go a little bit below them. Make sure that you're thinking about your goals for your business, your expenses, what you bring to the table, and make sure that you're pricing your services that way. This way you don't get stuck in a perpetual rut of actually not charging enough for your services and not making enough money to survive, or in reality, we want to make sure that you're actually thriving. I've also created 2 other videos on this topic of pricing because I know it's something that people are always kind of like lacking confidence around and just not really sure how to go about. It's just kind of an awkward subject. So I've made 2 other videos for you guys that you can check out up here or in the links in the descriptions as well. But a lot of times, just a simple tweak to pricing can really dramatically increase your revenue. So I want to make sure that you guys actually kind of take a deep dive into your pricing structure and look at that and make sure that you're being as efficient as possible with your time. Okay, so the next thing that you could do that really, really helps to increase your revenue is to always be, especially if they're regulars, always be making sure to make their experience novel every single time they come in. So don't make it business as usual. Make sure that you're always making suggestions for planning for the future and for even just doing something different within that service, and maybe suggesting a conditioning treatment, and that is going to add to your ticket price. Whereas normally, you're charging $45 for a haircut or something. If you add a conditioning treatment for $15, that's, another $15 added to your ticket right then and there. Or you can suggest it for the future. Maybe you don't have time to do it right now, but you're like, you know what? I think we should try this new treatment that I discovered. It's been helping so many clients, and I want to make sure that, your hair just doesn't get used to the same thing all the time. So for your next appointment, just think about adding on a conditioning treatment. We could always take it off. It's no big deal, but it's just kind of hard to add time later. And a lot of times what happens is if you add something on like this, they become addicted to it and they just want to do it every single time because you made them feel so great. So that'll dramatically increase when you look at your revenue for the end of the year. Little things like that just add up so much. And again, by helping your client, you are increasing your revenue. So it's something that you could actually feel really good about as well. And now your regulars don't feel so stale and so, business as usual and get bored with your relationship. Okay, and the last thing that I want to talk about is going to scare you. And I touched on this a little bit, but the last thing I want to talk about is I want you to make it your goal to charge higher prices. And this is one thing that really, really changed my life. When I started charging higher prices, I probably doubled my prices overnight. And once I did this, I was able to book way less clients, work way less hours, have so much less stress on my bones and my body. And I was able to spend more time with my family and just have a lifestyle that I could maintain. And work wasn't such a drag, and work was fun and exciting and something I always look forward to because I wasn't killing myself. So I want you to consider one of your main priorities is having the goal in mind to charge higher prices. And I know that this is something that is so difficult to do. So that's why I say you don't need to change your prices overnight. I changed my prices overnight, yes, but I had been planning on doing this for an entire year. So it wasn't just the act of changing my prices that changed my whole business and allowed me to go from, $30,000 a year to over $100,000 a year. It was really spending that entire first year figuring out what people were willing to pay for and how I was able to deliver a value that was worth charging higher prices for. And this takes a lot of time and consideration. So, if you look at the snapshot of me just changing my prices overnight and then that year making, over $100,000, you think, oh my gosh, there's no way I can do that. But if you put some perspective on it and you realize that, I spent a lot of time thinking about this and planning this before I actually did it, then it becomes a little bit more realistic. So let me tell you just a few things that you can do in order to reach that goal of charging higher prices. And the number one thing is you have to be able to differentiate your services. There has to be something that is very different about you and what you're offering because we all know there's so much competition out there. And in order for you to stand out and for people to actually want to make the decision to book with you and pay higher prices, is they have to be able to understand that there is some type of value that you are offering that they can't get anywhere else. And that way, pricing really doesn't make a difference. It's, oh my gosh, this person is going to be able to help me with exactly what I have been waiting for. The price is worth it. So like I said, you have to be able to differentiate yourself. And I talk about in a lot of other videos about having a niche, because a niche can really, really set you apart from the rest of the industry. So having something that you specialize in that is unique. For example, if you specialize in curly hair, people are more likely to book with somebody who has the answers to their specific problems. Now, a lot of you have raised questions and been like, well, what if I just don't like to do the same thing all the time? And finding a niche isn't necessarily just about working on one hair type. Your niche could be an exceptional type of customer service that you do. So maybe you do all types of different color and you specialize in color, or you do color and haircuts and things like that. And just to clarify, like I, did a lot of color and that is what I promoted, but I also did haircuts as well. It's not like I just wouldn't touch the haircut. I'm a hairstylist. I know how to do everything, but I made sure that I promoted something that was very, very specific. And that's how I got people in the door. So even if you do a whole bunch of other things, just make sure that you're promoting something that is more specific and makes you different. So if it's your customer service, if you give them gourmet coffees when they come in, just something as simple as that you can start with, but something that is related to the experience, not necessarily just the hair type or just the hair type that you do, but something that's just related to the experience, that can make them more willing to pay higher prices as well. For example, I freaking hate going to the US Post Office. It's the worst place to be. The people are absolutely terrible. They don't help you. Lines are crazy and it's just annoying as hell. So I will pay the extra $5 to ship with UPS because the experience is so much better. So there can be something just about the experience you provide or just about your personality. And make sure that you just kind of look at your business, look at who you are and what you offer as a stylist, and be honest about the things that you do really exceptionally well and make sure that you promote them, because those are the things that people are going to be willing to pay higher prices for, so that when you are ready to raise your prices, you will be more confident because you believe that you are delivering value that people who charge different prices won't be able to do. All right, so after giving you all of this information, I want to leave you with an action step or a place to start after hearing all of this information. So in this video, I really stressed pricing. So my action step for you is actually to start by looking at your pricing structure and think about making some changes based on the things that you learned on this video. So start there with your pricing. It's going to give you a really good diagnostic of your business and how you are doing as well. And when you look at your pricing and when you look at your revenue and what you're bringing in, based on your pricing, it's going to open up a lot more ideas for you for how you can increase your revenue. So my action step for you today is actually take some time, look at your books and look at your revenue from last year. And I want you to focus on trying to analyze what are the main things that brought you the most revenue. How can you improve those services and maybe charge even more for them? Or just look at your pricing and see where you can make improvements. Maybe you're not charging enough for your time in certain areas. So I want you to just kind of look at your revenue, see where all those revenue streams are coming from, and see if there's ways that you can add on to that or promote those services even more so that you can increase your revenue for the next year. Okay, so it's time for another shout out to an awesome YouTube subscriber. So every video I post, I want to acknowledge one of you guys, and I do that by picking a comment from the comment section. So Alicia says, "Thanks a lot for this video, Lauren. I always feel more confident after watching your videos." Alicia, first of all, thank you so much for watching, and just to let you know, that is one of my main goals for this channel. I really want to see stylists just be a lot more confident in what they're doing, so this means so much to me. And don't forget, if you love this video, make sure to share it with one of your friends so that they can be introduced to this content as well. And also, I have so many cool resources for you guys, so make sure to check out all the links in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Lauren, and I will see you next time.